and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be going through income and expense graphs. This is taken from one of my questions out of an exam paper. Kate makes formal dresses for a living. She charges 750 Rand per dress that she sells. So when you see the word sells, you know that we are going to be talking about income. Her fixed costs and variable costs are shown in the table below. So here the 3,000 is basically your fixed cost. 500 is your variable cost. And so instead of writing number of dresses, we replaced it with the letter N. The first question is write down the formula that represents Kate's income. So here we're going back to look at this particular part of the question, where you have 750 Rand that you are going to charge per dress. So my formula here is I, because they give you I standing for income, I equal to 750. You could say times the number of dresses, or you could just say 750 N. Let's go and have a look at the next question. Okay, so our next question is a table. And here you have been given values. If you're not too sure, you could actually test some of these values out in the table. So the first question we need to find is A, or you could find B or C, it doesn't really matter. But if we focus on A, we're basically going to be looking at this part. And so we have been given the expenses amount in A and the income amount. So you could either use the expenses formula or the income formula. So let's just say we use the expenses formula. We'll actually do both. So it will be, my formula is 3,000 plus 500 N. So N is the number of dresses, and I am actually looking for the number of dresses. So that's going to equal 5,500. So we rearrange the formula. We'll have 500 N equal to 5,500 subtract 3,000. So if I work it out here, I end up with 2,500. So we have 500 N equal to 2,500. Then what we do is we divide both sides by 500. And therefore we will have N equal to 5. So that would mean that you have your 5 dresses there. So therefore A is equal to 5. If you took the other option of using the income formula, you would then say it's 750. So basically you're going to say 3,750 equal to 750 N. Then you divide by 750, divide by 750, and you'll have N equal to 5. So it doesn't matter which formula you use in this particular case. Now, if we go to the next part, and here we're looking at B. So if we looked at B, we're looking at that particular part. So we're looking for the expense value with that. So you could use, and I will use the expense graph there. So we're going to go 3,000, or let's say B. B is equal to 3,000 plus 500 times, now we are given the number of dresses 15. So we go 15 equal to, so here we're going to have 3,000 plus 500 times 15. And we end up with 10,500. Okay, or you could have used the other value, and you would have also found B, the other formula. Okay, let's look at C. So C, we're looking for income. So I'm going to use my income formula. I'm going to go C is equal to 750 times 20. Okay, and that will be 750 times 20. And that gives me 15,000. So if we look at the values here, and this is quite important that you take note of this. If you look at your values, you can see that this is 5. And if you're going up on your formula, 0, 5, 10, 15, 20 is not always the case. And then B should be a value between 8,000 and 13,000, which is, it's 10,500. And C, because it's 20 here, C's value should definitely be higher. And that so happens to be 15,000. Okay, let's go and look at the next question. The next question is basically to sketch the graph. So here it says draw 2 line graphs on annexure A and represent Kate's income and expenses. Please remember that when you draw an income and expense graph, and they don't say line graph, it must always be a line graph. It cannot be a bar graph, because those are the mistakes we sometimes pick up in an exam. Okay, I'm going to draw this in OneNote. So you will be given the graph paper, and then you're required to plot the points. So if I look at my income graph, I remember now that the first value was 0, 0. And in line with 20 dresses, we had 15,000. That's the one that we found. So I'm just going to draw a dotted line quickly. And I'm going to go as far as 15,000, which is halfway. So this is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks there. So halfway would be somewhere there. Okay, so that would be my point. So I'm going to erase these. So I've plotted those 2 points. Now if you drew a line here and you join the points, we can go in between and fill in the missing values. So I've chosen to go with the points that I could read off easily. I'll go back to the table and show you what I mean. So basically we're going up to that point. So in line with where you have your 5, oops, let's just undo that. In line with where you have 5, let's go here, you fill in that point. In line with where you have 10, you're going to fill in that point. Where you have 15, you go and you fill in that value. Okay, and then you remember to write in that this is your income graph. Always remember to label. Now your expense graph is going to start at 3,000, which is here. And if we go back and we just look at some of the values that we had, so for the income graph, I started with 0 here, and I ended with the value of 15 in line with 20. For the expense graph, I'm going to plot 3,000, and I'm going to plot 8,000, because I can read off 8,000 quite nicely, and all the other points should fall into place, because it forms a straight line. So let's go back to that. 3,000, and we said 8,000. So 8,000 was in line with, and I didn't read that off properly, 8,000 was in line with 10. Okay, so we're going to go back here. In line with 10, we're going to go up, and we're going to go to 8,000. So there's 8,000 across here. And we're going to join. So I will use a different color just so that it's clear and we can see what we're doing. And we're going to draw this line. Okay, slightly out. But basically, we're going to write here that this is my expense graph. So my expense graph always starts higher up, never on 0, because this is my fixed cost here. Okay, just remember that this is your fixed cost. You don't have to write this in, it's just explaining it to you. Okay, now let's go back and read and see what the next question is. So you would get full marks. So very important, make sure to label your axes, to label your graphs to indicate which is an income graph, which is an expense graph. And you can see that the break-even point will be somewhere here. Okay, right, let's go to the next question. The next question is, it says, use the graph to determine how many dresses she would have to sell in order to break even. Now we can read it off, but I would also like to work it out with you. So let's just say you could not read off, it's not too clear on your graph. You take your formula and you let your income equal your expenses. Okay, now you're obviously going to read off, but if you cannot read off, you can work it out this way. So your income graph is 750 in equal to 3,000 plus 500 in. So what you do is you subtract. You're going to go 750 in, subtract 500 in, equal to 3,000. And then you subtract the 2, and you're going to get 250 in equal to 3,000. Then we divide both sides by 250 and divide both sides by 250. And n is equal to 12. So let's go back and see if we drew that correctly. So if we go back here and we try and we read off this point here, it's somewhere here. So my graph is not very clear, but there's this is the point here, which is 12. Okay, my lines are too thick, okay, but almost in line. Okay, let's go to the next one. Kate states that she will make a profit of 2,000 if she sells 18 dresses. Show by means of calculations if she is correct. So here you're going to you could start with either your income graph. So if we're working with profit, basically profit is equal to income minus expense. Now you can do it all in one step, but I'm going to do them in two separate steps. So I'm going to start with income. I'm going to say income is equal to 750, we're using the formula, times 18 dresses. Okay, so 750 times 18, and that gives me 13,500. Okay, now we're going to work out the expense. Okay, so your expense is equal to 3,000 plus 500 times 18. Okay, let's work that out. 3,000 plus 500 times 18, and that gives me 12,000. So when you work out your profit is going to be your income, which is 13,500 Rand, subtract 12,000 Rand. And you are going to make a profit of 1,500 Rand after selling 18 dresses. In order to break even, you had to sell 12 dresses. After 12 dresses, you start making a profit, and at 18 dresses, you now have a profit of 1,500 Rand. I hope you found this video useful. Please like and subscribe and follow me on my next video.